Good evening. I'm Erin Burnett. Out front tonight, President Trump furious. The president livid at Democrats for stealing his staffers. Those are his words. We're talking about staffers who will be working for House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff on investigating the president. Quote, Republicans never did this to President Obama. There would be no time left to run government. Even stealing people who work at the White House, a continuation of the witch hunt. And when it comes to stealing, Schiff fired back. Quote, if the president is worried about our hiring any former administration people, maybe he should work on being a better employer. Trump is paranoid about former staffers turning on him, and rightfully so, despite what he has repeatedly insisted.
Everybody wants to work in this White House. We are a hot country. This is a hot White House. We are a White House that people want to work with.
Well, we have seen time and time again people from the administration trying to undermine or embarrass the president, right? Remember, there was that whole op-ed in the New York Times, and then his schedule just leaked this week, which was leaked with the intention of making him look bad and lazy. And now these former NSC officials, people who could know the inner workings of the administration, are going to work with Schiff and Democrats. And by the way, there are a lot of investigations into President Trump, his administration, and his inner circle. We know of more than 20 tonight. But what they see as oversight, President Trump sees much differently. He calls it presidential harassment in all caps, saying it should never be allowed to happen again. I want to go straight to Capitol Hill and Manu Raju, who is out front there. And Manu, this is now nasty and personal between President Trump and Adam Schiff.
And it's going to get more intense, Aaron, because the House Intelligence Committee is only going to ramp up this investigation going forward. Adam Schiff announced yesterday his plans to not just look into Russia interference in the 2016 election, any collusion or coordination that occurred between the Trump campaign and the Russians, but also any financial interests, any business interests that are driving the president's decisions, any questions about whether any foreign interests are influencing the president, his family, his inner circle. They're expecting a multi-House panel probe, multiple committees looking into this, and the president's ire is probably only going to be sparked time and time again. And yeah, the president is concerned about the ramping up of staff, too, bringing in some former national security aides to help with that investigation, accusing them of stealing these staff. But the committee is hiring these folks for one reason, looking into potential money laundering. And if that occurred during the Trump organization, that's going to be one focus of this committee in the coming weeks and months.
All right. So obviously that's a big development. There's also, Manu, a battle between the acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker and the House Judiciary Chairman, Democrat Jerry Nadler, right? And this is over whether Whitaker is going to appear tomorrow or get served with a subpoena. This has been high drama today.
It has been high drama, and there are discussions that are happening behind the scenes about a potential appearance tomorrow. There's expectations on Capitol Hill from the Democrats that Whitaker will, in fact, appear. We're waiting for the official response from the Justice Department after Jerry Nadler said, if you come tomorrow, we will serve you with a subpoena. Now, this, of course, came after Whitaker said he wants written assurances from Jerry Nadler that he would not be subpoenaed if he were going to appear. Jerry Nadler wants to hear about all those conversations that may have occurred between the president and Trump about the special counsel's investigation, about his decision not to recuse from overseeing the investigation, and about whether he discussed with the president Michael Cohen's guilty plea and the fact that the president himself was implicated in 2 federal crimes. Those are things that Matt Whitaker does not want to discuss as conversations with the president. So if he does come, will he get hit with a subpoena, and how will he respond to this latest response from the House Judiciary Chairman? We'll see in the coming hours here, Aaron.
All right. Thank you very much, Manu. And now we are joined by Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell. Happens to sit on both the House Intelligence and Judiciary Committee, so obviously central to both of these developing stories. Congressman, thanks for being with me. And I want to start with the Judiciary side, the fight going on between Whitaker and Chairman Nadler. Nadler not giving Whitaker the guarantee he's asking for in order to agree to testify. Do you have any indication that Whitaker is going to accept the deal?
Well, the chairman just sent over a letter assuring Acting Attorney General Whitaker that if he comes forward tomorrow and answers our questions, he doesn't have to worry about a subpoena. And that's the process that we want. But, Aaron, in what country does an executive tell elected representatives that they're above answering questions? I'll tell you what country. It's China, it's Russia, it's Iran, but it's not the United States of America. And the reason we are ready to go with the subpoena is because we have sent over to the administration a number of questions we want to ask the acting attorney general. So he's getting the questions in advance and asking them if they're going to assert any privileges that would prevent him from answering. And they didn't send anything back. And so we got nervous, and we didn't want to waste our time. We didn't want to waste the American people's time. And so we said, well, if you're not going to answer questions, we have a process that we have to follow to compel those questions. We hope it doesn't come to that.
All right, so you're waiting to hear back from him at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
All right, so now, meantime, on the intelligence side, President Trump says Adam Schiff is, quote, stealing people who work at the White House. Those were his words, stealing. Do you know, Congressman, of people who've gone from the White House to the committee?
Well, first, Aaron, White House staffers are not property. They can't be stolen. They can make their own decisions about who they work for. And our committee and Mr. Schiff is interested in hiring people from the intelligence community, including people who have worked in past or current administration. So I'm not going to go into the names of the people we've hired because this isn't about the staff. This is about the responsibility that we have. And as Mr. Schiff said, it says more about Donald Trump if they left him to work elsewhere than it does about us who want to do our job. And this sounds a lot like, frankly, the wiretapped claim of Trump Tower, where he thinks that we actually went over there and took staffers against their will to work for us.
But these are people who currently work there in some capacity, right? And they've made their own decision to come work for you guys. That's the bottom line.
We have not stolen anyone, and yes, we have people from the intelligence community who have chosen to come work on Capitol Hill during this extraordinary time in our country.
So, The Hill is reporting tonight that Democrats on the committee are preparing to issue another subpoena, right? This is related to these investigations, phone records linked to that infamous Trump Tower meeting, right? That Don Jr. was at, Manafort was at, Natalia Veselnitskaya was at. Can you confirm that for us tonight?
Well, I can confirm what we've said all along, which is, yes, we want those records. We want to know who Donald Trump Jr. talked to. There's public reporting coming from the Senate that it was not his father, it was other individuals, and we want to find that out. We don't want to jump to the conclusion. We also think that this is something we could have found out 2 years ago, but we want to put this to rest. So yes, we're going to answer that question in short order. All
right, so that's any timing on the subpoena for that, or you said just short order?
I'll let Mr. Schiff make that news.
So President Trump has now said in a tweet, you're talking about these investigations. You see them as very worthwhile. You're talking about people who work for the National Security Committee and community who are coming to work for you and choosing to do so to work on these investigations. The president says, quote, the Dems and their committees are going nuts. The Republicans never did this to President Obama. There will be no time left to run government. Look, we know of at least 20 investigations right now. Are you worried at all, Congressman, about Democrats getting mired in these investigations, getting caught in the moment of going for the investigation and not doing other work?
While we've launched these investigations, just in the last 48 hours, we had hearings in Congress to have background checks on firearm purchases, to update the Voting Rights Act to make sure everyone and everywhere can vote who's eligible, and also to make sure that we invest in infrastructure. That happened while we were doing these investigations. So showing the American people we can walk and chew gum at the same time, we're going to do that. But the presidential immunity that he's enjoyed for 2 years from a Congress that was unwilling to really hold him accountable, those days are over. And so yes, of course, we're going to do our job and make sure the rule of law is still intact in this country.
Look, you have a fair point. It's your job to investigate. That is the job of Congress. And it was not being done in full while he had a Republican House. All of that is true. But I just have to show you the investigations Democrats are launching right now. We have them on the screen. As I said, right now we've got more than 20. I put as many as we could on the screen right now. Are all of these worthwhile?
More cannot be less. When I was a prosecutor, Aaron, I would have defense attorneys come in and their client would have like 10 DUIs and they'd say, can we just make them all go away and he'll plead to one? And I would say, no, more is not less. Just because you've made us do a lot of work because you have exposed yourself to a lot of crimes does not mean we're going to give you a break. So the president, his business, his campaign, his transition, which only lasted 2 months, and his administration are all under investigation. And again, if the rule of law is going to mean something in this country, we have to make sure that anyone that broke the law is accountable.